sometimes it was just hard to reach folks, but we're so glad that people are able to see this now and reach out to us. So that is exactly what we were hoping to do. And the map is a living map. So we are able to add folks at any point in time.
Welcome to Keep It Local, a podcast of the Local Media Association. The Local Media Association is intensely focused on helping local media companies discover new and sustainable business models. Welcome to Keep It Local. My name is Ryan Welton with Local Media Association, and I am privileged to be joined today by Dana Piccoli, the Managing Director of News is Out, one of our collaboratives here with Local Media Association. Before we get going, I'm going to ask Dana to introduce herself, but also to introduce us to what News is Out is all about. What is it? Who's it for? And why is it important, Dana, in the world of journalism?
Well, Ryan, thank you so much for having me here. I've been looking forward to talking with you. So I'm Dana Piccoli, and I'm celebrating 14 years in queer media this year. I have spent my entire professional journalism career in queer media, so that is something I'm very proud of. And yes, as mentioned, I am the managing director of News is Out, which is a queer media collaborative made up of 7 LGBTQ plus leading publishers around the country. That's Bay Area Reporter, Dallas Voice, Los Angeles Blade, Philadelphia Gay News, Tag Magazine, Washington Blade, and Windy City Times. The collab was formed a little over 3 years ago, and really our goal is to create a more sustainable future for all queer media. Together, these outlets are bringing over 250 years of a collective experience covering the LGBTQ plus communities, and we really want to strengthen journalism, amplify our outreach, build sustainability through partnerships, shared resources. So we're really glad to be here to be able to talk about News is Out, but also the Media Mapping Project, which is why you brought me here, really.
Right. That's a great segue. News is Out recently announcing the LGBTQ plus Media Mapping Project. So Dana, what sparked the idea for this project, and why is it so important to have this kind of map and research for LGBTQ plus media?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say that this would not be possible without the support of the MacArthur Foundation, Local Media Foundation, and the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at CUNY. So we're very grateful for the support of those folks and those organizations. So really what sparked the idea is this is the brainchild of Tracy Bain, the co-founder of the Windy City Times and a founding member of News is Out. She was really inspired to collect this information because it hadn't really been gathered before. Even though we have 100+ year history, queer media is often underfunded and underdocumented. Mainstream journalism overlooks queer communities, so queer media filled that gap. But there had been really no comprehensive national record. So News is Out, the collaborative that I helped lead, we recognize that in order to help the wider ecosystem and ask funders and advertisers to invest in us, we needed to show who we are, where we are. We wanted to meet people halfway with solid data and a living map, which is another really exciting part of this. And this project, thanks to Tracy, who really put her heart and soul into this. This is a year-long plus project. It was born out of urgency where, we're dealing with rising political threats, corporate pushback on DEI advertising, but there's also a surge of audiences looking for trustworthy LGBTQ plus news.
Sociological riches in the niches. People
Yes.
think it's not just about the money, it's about connection. And there's an audience for everybody. And by the way, an audience, like if you're down there reading Leo's publication in Dallas,
Right.
but you to another place, where are my people? Where is the news about me? And so it was important not only for the industry, but also for consumers.
Yes. I mean, that when I was vacationing it's still when I vacation and I go to a new city, I'm always looking for the LGBTQ plus media and like, can I pick up a print copy? Can I hop on Google and find out what's going on in this area thanks to a queer media outlet? It is a lifeline and the heart of community for the LGBTQ plus community.
You noted the struggles, and the struggles are political, sociological, socioeconomic, for the industry, for sustainability, and the research that came out of this project noted a lot of the struggles. What were some of the struggles that stood out to you in terms of the biggest challenges that local LGBTQ plus media organizations are facing?
Yes, there are several. And to be clear, the entire journalism media ecosystem is dealing with similar issues, but uh, the report really breaks it down into several pieces. So precarious business models. Nearly half of the outlets that we surveyed are operating on less than $100,000 a year, and many are run by volunteers or maybe one or two staff members. So that makes it really difficult to sustain original reporting. There's also an over-reliance on advertising. Most of the outlets that we talk to depend heavily, if not exclusively, on advertising. But advertising revenues drop sharply. Corporations are pulling back on LGBTQ plus and DEI marketing, not because the audience is valuable, but because of this political backlash. There's also been a lack of philanthropic support overall. So unlike other areas of journalism, very few LGBTQ plus media outlets have a foundation of philanthropic funding. That means they're missing a key revenue stream at a time when local news everywhere is dealing with crisis, right? There's also capacity and staffing shortages, sort of like I talked about earlier. But a lot of these outlets don't have full-time staffs, let alone sales teams or even basic resources for legal fundraising, ad selling. It's just not sustainable. And then another huge part of this is geographic news deserts. We have huge portions of the country, 18 states completely, that don't have any LGBTQ plus outlets, publication, media at all. So like Wyoming, North Dakota, Mississippi. And even if you do have a queer outlet in your state, you may be in a completely different part of the state. So there's millions of LGBTQ plus people who don't have any real access to the community that LGBT media creates. And then we're also dealing with fear and political pressure. So journalists they're worried, they're concerned. There have been reports of reporters and sources asking to have their names removed from stories. Outlets have had to scrub their office addresses in order to stop being targeted or avoid being targeted. So it's a lot. We're facing a lot, but there's signs of hope as well.
Power in numbers, and I think that's probably a really big advantage that News is Out brings to the table by bringing all of these publications together. So there are 7 publications right now, but there are the potential for every major city over 100,000 people to have its own LGBTQ plus media organization. What are some of the things that News is Out as a whole, in addition to this amazing research that was done for the media map, that the collaborative brings to the industry to empower sustainability?
I think we bring an important voice. I think we haven't had an advocate before, really, for queer media. So News is Out and itself acts as an advocate. And clearly, the 7 members of News is Out and our amazing affiliates, those are a big focus for us. But it has always been about creating a better path for all queer media, because queer media is so important to us as queer people, as trans people, as community. Without queer media, we lose a voice in democracy. We lose power. We lose, opportunity. So, News is Out has been able to start gaining a more of a voice, a presence in journalism circles, in funding circles, and philanthropic circles, and also in branded content. So we're really hoping to be able to take what we've learned, to share that with our fellow queer media outlets around the country, to deliver best practices, and hopefully bring everyone together to combat all of the issues that we're facing, because it's nothing new. We're all facing the same things.
It's one of the important aspects of the media mapping project to identify where everybody is. Have you had other publications come to you and say, "Hey, you missed me.
Yes.
I want to be there"?
Yes, we have. And uh, I think we've added 2 or 3 folks in the last 2 weeks. But, we reached out to so many folks. And unfortunately, we weren't able to get responses from everyone. Some were closed. We found out that an outlet was no longer publishing. But also just sometimes it was just hard to reach folks. But we're so glad that people are able to see this now and reach out to us. So that is exactly what we were hoping to do. And the map is a living map. So we are able to add folks at any point in time.
And the vision from your perspective, I'm not putting words in your mouth, is to keep up that map
Oh,
over the.
absolutely. Yes. To keep up the map with folks that we maybe weren't able to get a hold of in the first place, but also maybe there's a new outlet that just started that that wants to be featured. So this is always intended to be a living, breathing thing.
Very interesting. Courage in numbers. When you see all of the publications that are out there, it might actually inspire somebody who's always been in journalism to say, "Yeah, maybe I'll have to start my own
I
publication."
mean, yes, for sure. And also, I spoke to some folks that was saying, you know, was kind of feeling alone in this. I was kind of feeling like an island. But now that I'm seeing my colleagues in the industry dealing with the same things or similar issues, I feel less alone. And that's also a huge part. We may not be official collaborative members together, but if we can create a sense of collaboration throughout the entire industry, then that's amazing. That's going to give a lot of people strength and hope for what's ahead.
When I read the report on localmedia.org about the announcement of the Media Mapping Project, I noted that it wasn't all bad news, though, and it speaks to what you were just talking about. What did the research show about resilience and even growth in queer media? And this really caught my attention, interest from younger generations.
Oh, yes. I mean, younger generations, they have their own ways of going about things, but they're interested, they're curious. But one of the most encouraging things we found is indeed how resilient queer media is. So even while resources are stretched, many outlets are finding surging audiences. So people are really indeed hungry for trustworthy community-centric news. So that's really stood out. Also, this willingness to collaborate. Of course, I love collaboration. I run a collaboration, but more than 90% of the outlets that we spoke to said they'd be willing to join forces for shared content, fundraising, back end services like sales, legal help. A shared services model is becoming a really important conversation. So that's a really big cultural shift from the days when queer outlets saw each other kind of as strictly as competitors. And yes, we're seeing a real momentum coming from younger generations, and more than 1 in 5 Gen Z adults identify as LGBTQ plus. So that audience is getting bigger, and they're looking for digital first platforms, podcasts, social content, and many outlets are rising to meet those challenges and those demands. And while reader revenue itself is an underused form of revenue, audiences are showing that they do want to support queer media through memberships or subscriptions and even events. So, yes, there's challenges, but there's also a growth, collaboration, and an engaged new generation of readers that we went on to reach.
This is good news for journalism, isn't it?
Yes.
Younger generations looking for community accidentally stumble into journalism, making it a habit for their life for all of their communities. So I think, getting introduced to journalism via a niche or a community will lead them to a lifelong habit, which is important for even those publications who aren't covering LGBTQ plus issues
Yeah.
as they should need to take a lesson from this because these folks are their customers too.
Oh yeah, we have to reach them where they are, and that takes some learning curves, I think, for a lot of us. But the learning curves that we absolutely need to master. We need to be able to reach these new readers where they are.
The report makes it clear that LGBTQ plus media is underfunded. What do funders and sponsors need to understand about the value of supporting this work. So, for example, if a philanthropic leader or foundation officer is listening right now, we hope they are. We'll post this to LinkedIn, we'll post it everywhere. We hope they're listening. What's the call to action for them?
It's pretty simple. So funders need to see queer media as essential infrastructure to democracy. Just like any other community-focused outlet, we need resources to expand our reporting, invest in technology, build sustainable business models, infrastructure. Because LGBT media is incredibly collaborative, like I've said, 90%, so they'd be willing to, join a fundraiser or a partnership. Every dollar has the potential to create more sustainability for that ecosystem. So if you are a philanthropic leader listening, this is an opportunity to make a real difference. And by supporting LGBTQ plus media, you're investing in truth, you're investing in representation and community connection at a time where we need it most.
Somebody listening to this saying, I did not know that this was a project, I did not know this was a thing. Where can people explore the map themselves and learn more about the work you're doing?
The easiest place to find it is on newsisout.com. There is a drop down that is the media mapping report. Click on that. You're going to have the access to the entire report via PDF. You can also access the map, which lives on the CUNY journalism site. So you can click on that and go there and check out what's in your area. Maybe you'll be inspired by where there are some areas that there is no coverage and you want to, help us create something there. But yeah, that's the best and easiest place to find it is on newsisout.com.
That's fantastic. It's an exciting project, Dana. Dana Piccoli, everybody, the managing director for News is Out, one of Local Media Association's collaboratives. Now, if you hear this and you're in a newsroom and you want to share it with your colleagues, please share this podcast with your colleagues. Or if you know a newsie in your life who would be inspired by this, share that with them. My name is Ryan Welton, and I encourage you to keep it local. This has been Keep It Local, a podcast of the Local Media Association. If you got value out of today's podcast, why not give it a review wherever you heard it? And share it with a fellow journalist or an entire newsroom. Until next time, for Keep It Local, this is Ryan with the Local Media Association.